Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house and in your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again, Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
The sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs is now entering its 5th week. Today, a witness under the pseudonym Jane will return to the stand. Over the weekend, the defense filed for a motion for a mistrial, their second attempt. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman joins us from outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Once again, Katrina, good morning to you. As I mentioned, it's the second time Team Diddy has moved for a mistrial, but what's new in their approach this time?
Errol, what they're saying now is that there was false testimony given on the stand, both by Cassie Ventura, that's Sean Combs' ex, and Brianna Bongolan. She was a close friend of Ventura's who also worked with Ventura and Combs. What they're saying is that Ventura first gave false testimony about this alleged incident where they say that Sean Combs dangled Bongolan from a balcony, and then that the government doubled down on that perjured testimony with Bongolan. So they say that this could lead to an unfair conviction, Errol, and that the judge should declare a mistrial. They further allege that Bongolan and Ventura, who are still friends, have been corroborating their testimony. They've been talking during the trial, that Bongolan is financially motivated. She has her own civil lawsuit against Combs for $10 million. And they write in one of the footnotes that what they described as physically impossible, that Sean Combs is 6 feet. They gave the height of the railings in California for these balconies, and they say it just wouldn't have been possible for this to happen. Furthermore, they had shown when Bongolan was on the stand that Sean Combs wasn't even in Los Angeles, where this supposedly took place, on the date that she was testifying. We had seen this photo of a bruise that was time-stamped September 26th, and they showed that he was in New York on that day.
And Katrina, I want to get your views of the case overall, because I was speaking with a kind of celebrity legal expert this morning, and we discussed how the prosecution doesn't seem to have made its RICO case yet, because it's implicated Diddy in all these alleged bad acts. But have they really proven a larger scheme yet, which would be crucial to a jury agreeing with their claims and finding Diddy guilty?
Errol, this is a great question, and I do think the prosecution is still establishing this. They have been talking about a number of people in Sean Combs' orbit who worked with him. In particular, they've called out Christina Karam as what they say is a co-conspirator. This is someone who was an assistant to Sean Combs, who ultimately became his chief of staff. There are a number of security people we've heard about on the stand and other assistants and employees that they seem to be trying to implicate in agreements about this underlying criminal activity that they also have to show. But I still really feel like they're putting this case together. We've seen a lot of the groundwork, but they are still presenting their case, and we have to see how they show that there was really an agreement here with Combs and these other people to conduct this criminal activity, and that it was part of his company's activities.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. The expectation is there could be.
Okay, you guys, that was a little news clip I played for you guys because, yes, Diddy did file for a mistrial. This is the second time. And as you heard, when they were discussing the balcony incident, when Cassie first described it, and then also when Cassie described it, their stylist happened to be there at the same time too, but they didn't bring him into that mistrial or that allegations of them falsifying their testimony. But when it comes to Bonna, remember when she did her testimony last week, she was on the stand for a couple of days, and basically her and Cassie's story kind of was similar, but the timing was off. And you guys let me know if you actually could believe that Diddy would try to do something like that, like hold somebody over the balcony or threaten them over the balcony. With all the shit that we heard that he has done to people, do you guys actually believe he could be capable of doing something like that? One thing they said was that Bonna, when she was telling them what day it happened, Diddy was in a whole nother state at that time. So I know one thing that we have mentioned over and over again, not just I, but a lot of people is like, when you have people who have done as many drugs as they have, hardcore drugs to mollies to ecstasy and all other kind of stuff, they did it for years and days on end, and getting high every day to do these freak offs, and then trying to remember all this shit years later. I wouldn't be surprised if the shit really did happen, and then she just got the days wrong. Now, what I would hate to see happen or hate to know happen was that they really were being honest, because I don't think people are just lying, just trying to get Diddy in trouble. I think that Diddy did a lot of horrible shit to people, and they now came forward. Like, they were literally bold enough, brave enough to follow Cassie's lead and file charges against him and file cases against him. What I would hate is if they was like, oh, well, the dates didn't match, whoop, and because you might have been so damn high back in the day that you were off by your dates and locations, and they just absolutely don't believe you. Because again, a lot of this shit didn't just happen last week or last month or last year. This shit happened years ago. So it's just, the jewelry for all the shit that they hearing, and all the timelines and things like that. It seemed like so far pretty much a lot has added up until the balcony situation. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to go through or not, because of course court still went on today. It was a whole full day of court, with allegedly Fitty's baby mama. Allegedly Fitty baby mama. And Fitty, as we know, has been trolling. Okay, y'all, I was on 50's IG. Oh, this man is a mess. But I do love me some 50. I ain't gonna hold you. Y'all, people have been following me long enough. Y'all know 50 should have been my baby daddy back in the day. But make sure you guys like and share the video on your way in. Thank you. Please subscribe if you happen to be new here. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And what up, honey? How you doing? What up, Jackson Street? Hey, Cosmic Girl. How you doing, love? What's up? What's going on, you guys? Now, Jackson says, so is there a mistrial? We have to wait and see. He filed for it. This is the second time they filed for it. So we have to wait and see. As far as the mistrials go, I don't know, because I thought that they filed for the mistrial on the 7th, which was a few days ago, after Thursday and Friday testimony. And I was thinking, well, that's a Saturday. So if today's court day, and if they file for a mistrial, I don't know how that works. I mean, court went on like it was supposed to, as scheduled, a whole day of court. So I'm like, I don't know if you file a mistrial and then it takes days and days for it to go through. Do they just continue on the court like normal? And I don't know. I don't know how they work. I don't know. But I find it absolutely amazing that the graphic details of this stuff wasn't leaked. Thank you, Cosmic Girl. That's what I keep saying. But a lot of these people, when they this high profile, this high status, when they be having those parties and events, they all have to sign those NDAs. And also, even with like, let's say Netflix, the new Netflix stand-up shows, you have to turn in your cell phones before you go into the theater. Even here in our city, in the Midwest, when people like Kevin Hart and all those type of people come here, we have to turn in our cell phones. We can't take our cell phones in. And if you get caught with a cell phone, you get kicked out. So I'm pretty sure none of them was allowed to have cell phones or anything. And again, a lot of people in their circles knew about it. And you know what, 400? Let me tell you something, 400. Guess what I did this weekend, 400? Something that you've been telling me to do. I finally listened to the entire book. The book. Okay? I finally listened to the entire book, Kim Porter. The book that she allegedly wrote, or the words that allegedly came from her that one of her good friends wrote after her passing. And I have to admit, 400. At first, I was a little skeptical, but I have to admit that for the most part, I think the words in the book are more true than not. And the reason why I say that, 400, is because the book, when the timing of the book came out, was way before all these testimonies, the court sessions, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff was that was in the book was very, very similar to what these other ladies went through. And I always wondered if Diddy ever put his hands on her. I had heard rumors. I always wondered if she was a part of the freak-offs. I heard rumors, but I kind of figured since Diddy held her up on such a high pedestal that he might have treated her differently from the other females that he was messing with. But according to the book, he was having her do a swinging session and having sex with people and all kind of stuff. And I mean, with all kind of different celebrities. And the one thing the book did not say was there was prostitutes involved or escorts or things like that. Most of the people that they had sex with, their swinging sessions, were like very popular, well-known celebrities like Will Smith and Jada, Mary J. Blige. Of course, this is allegedly, this is in the book. But the pattern of behavior, thank you, Cosmic Girl, the pattern of behavior, it's the same. And this book came out before we heard any of these testimonies from any of these people. So yeah, I'm leaning more on the side of a lot of that in the book could very well be true. And what I thought about a while ago, when I heard about Cassie being beaten, when I saw the videotape, and then I see how Kim passed away. I don't know. I ain't gonna hold you. When that first happened, I did have some thoughts. I had some thoughts. When I saw the video footage of Cassie, it was kind of close to the time of Kim's passing, not too far past it. And I ain't gonna lie, I had thoughts. And this was before the book. I mean, this was before I even read the book or heard any testimonies or anything like that. So yeah, I had heard that, Cosmic Girl, and I was like, I didn't think much of it until I saw the Cassie video. And I was like, if he is able to beat someone so viciously, kicking and stomping and dragging, and here this little girl, well, she's a woman, but the woman are signs of a girl, up and down the hallways and all the other shit she alleged, how far-fetched would it be to do it to Kim too? Even though in most scenarios, that one that's at the top, they get treated like so much better than the other ones. That the jump offs, the side pieces, the things like that. But child, absolutely, he didn't run up on any of them. But yeah, old Diddy, old 50, he over there. 50 actually deleted a post. I don't usually see 50 deleting posts. I don't know if this has something to do with the identity of Jane Doe, who allegedly is Daphne Joy, his baby mama. But 50 had made a post Friday. He had made a post talking about do anybody know this person? What he did was, how the artists, they draw like pictures of the people in court, and it's just be like an artist, like a drawing a kind of vague description of what the people look like in court. And 50 had posted that picture. You know, he been trolling the hell out of Diddy. And I think what his new show is going to be called, his documentary, I think it's going to be called Mogul, because I was on 50's IG and he had this picture and it said Mogul on it, and he said he cannot wait. He is about to make money off of this shit. But basically, he had posted some sketch of Joy, and then a selfie of Joy with the courtroom sketch. And that was June 6th on Friday, and said, hey, does anyone know who Jane Doe is? I'm researching to research. He said, I'm trying to research for the Diddy documentary. Then he added like some wide-eye emojis and stuff. And he continued on saying, man, this stuff with Elon and Trump is crazy. Referring to the current rift between Tesla founder and the POTUS. But that post is no longer on his page. And if you click on the Instagram post where it was, it says this post has been deleted. So I'm not really used to 50 posting shit on Instagram and then deleting it. But one thing for sure, Diddy is being trolled by 50. But people are also talking shit on his page too, because they talking about you up here talking about your baby mama allegedly when you used to love her, you knocked her up, you had kids by her, and what you're doing is not right. Because this is what he posted. Let me show y'all what he posted. And again, I love me some 50 Cent. I do. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But this is what he posted. Y'all see this? Now, people on his Instagram post are saying this is embarrassing and shouldn't be tolerated, but I'm gagging too. Oh, that's our homegirl, the Sassy Show, on that post. You know, y'all know the Sassy Show. Matter of fact, I ain't seen her around in a minute. But anyway, somebody said you forgot when he was on here calling her a little sex worker, huh? And they said he been known. Somebody else said, I don't think this is right time for this. Please go get custody of your son. He's seeing all of this on the internet, plus now has to live with his friends and peers knowing these stories. Please make sure his mental health is being cared for right now. Somebody else said, why can't these women get real jobs? Somebody else said, you cuffed it and had a scene with her though, champ. You was in love. Diddy turned her out, only costed $120 a year. Because remember, Diddy said he was only going to pay her 10 racks a month. That is like $120 a year, y'all. And y'all know when we had discussed that payment plan, that payment option, that salary. Hell no, $10,000? Do you know some people make $10,000 a week, every 2 weeks? And you don't have to be the smartest person in the world to make that type of money. I know people who never went to college who make good money like that. It might be a lawn business. It might be doing taxes. It might be doing hair. It might be a chef. It might be, I know people who make, I got a friend who's a photographer. Okay, she makes good money. Child. I got friends and family who are daycare providers. Like sex, laying on your back, fucking with all kind of prostitutes, being flued out all over the country to have sex for days and days and days and days on end, giving your body up to multiple men, and only 10 racks a month. You lying to me in my lovely love voice. You is lying to me. But anyway, where is it over here? Let's see. Mogul. Here we go. Okay, so here it is right here. Mogul series. 50 Cent had posted on his IG Mogul series. He said, inspired by the rise and fall of Sean P. Diddy Combs. Fuck it. I got to make some money off this shit. Coming soon. 50 Cent action. This is not Empire. He said, this is not Empire. Okay? But people are saying that 50 is just mad because Diddy was had his girl out there. Like, not his girl, but his baby mama out there like that, his ex. I don't, people is going to troll. I think Diddy is being trolled by 50, obviously, but people are also trolling 50 Cent because people, if they use a right fucking mind, this lady who 50 ain't been with in years, yeah, he got a baby by her, but he ain't been together in years. Yeah, he might feel a certain way about about Diddy, but do you really think he fucking jealous or some shit like that? Hell no, that nigga ain't jealous. 50 Cent has been fucking dragging and talking shit about his own baby mama over time. So now that this shit has came out in the open, he has always called her a sex worker. So now that this shit is like in the open for the world to see, people are like, oh, you're just hating. You're just jealous. You're just mad. You're just, child. 50 is still making big moves, okay? Okay, while Diddy can barely move around that 4x5 or 5x9 or 10x10, whatever the damn size is. Child. Yeah, but was paying the Sims, but was paying the male escorts millions. That says a lot. That says a lot. And that's why I still believe from the down to the depths of my soul that him recording every moment of these freak offs, even when people knew or didn't know that he was doing it, especially if you're super, super high, you won't be paying attention to see if somebody's recording you or not. You're super, super high. But I really, truly believe that there's some underground tapes, porno thing going on. And a lot of this shit that he's recording, he's probably making money off of it. That's just what I believe. I know he's a voyeur. But I truly believe that he's not keeping all those. We going back how many years of tapes and shit? I know that motherfucker probably like, shit, I can sell this shit. I can make a lot of money off this shit, even though he already got money. So yeah, I can believe it. I certainly can. But yeah, he got a lot of posts on here about Diddy. There was one on here I thought was real funny. This one right here. He said, oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low. I think I'm going to hide out at the playoff game tonight. Even Geisha 305, y'all know Geisha 305. She was in the B sector for a hot ass minute before she was like, fuck y'all motherfuckers. Y'all doing too much over here in the B sector and I don't want no parts. But yeah, so he had posted that picture of him running away from Diddy. But yeah, and here's another picture right here talking about what? I'm just gonna run. I just need to do a little cardio. Diddy's not really after me. Laugh out loud. Somebody underneath that said, damn, 50, I get it. Diddy took your girl, man. I'm sorry, bro. Let it go. So yeah, people still gonna, try to incite that, that's the beef between them two. That he's with her girl. Child, if I was a dude and my baby mama was getting tricked out and pimped out and all that day, if anything, I just try to get custody of my child. Shit, I sure wouldn't be fucking jealous. But anywho. So, with that being said, as far as the Diddy trial updates, we're going to get into all the transcripts. We know Jane is still on the stand, which is allegedly 50's baby mama Joy. She's testifying that, alleged physical altercation with Diddy. So she was on the stand for a very long time Friday. She was on the stand the entire time today. It was like damn near almost 5 o'clock their time. And I'm like, damn, are y'all done yet? But the judge did warn the jury last week that they were going to have some late days because they're going to have to make up for some time. But yeah, so some of the key highlights of her testimony, we are on week 5. Jane testified about alleged physical altercation between her and Diddy, telling her to put some ice on it and put an outfit on after she got hurt. She testified that she was with Combs when the Cassie Ventura hotel attack video became public because remember she testified last week that she was still with him up until he got arrested. And then It was supposed to be charge me for your resentment. The jury saw more Diddy and Jane's messages about the hotel nights, aka the free calls. The jury heard phone calls between Diddy and Jane after the 2023 Cassie Ventura lawsuit. Jane tells court Diddy used love bombing in order to force her into hotel nights. Ain't that the same thing that Cassie said? And also the expert. Yes, the expert. She had testified to that, trauma bonding, Stockholm syndrome, things like that. She also said in court, I wanted to stop all of it. She told Diddy she's tired of the hotel nights and text messages. And we are going to go through all of the transcripts, okay, at this moment. So let me take a sip, and you guys make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the Hood Table, please, and thank you very much if you happen to be new here. And feel free to donate to the commentary, $ the Hood Table 402 on Cash App or to the Super Chat. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Okay, so before the jury entered this morning, the judge said, I have the defense's motion to dismiss, but the government has said they will respond today. I don't have anything from them yet, so we'll address it tomorrow, along with whether Dr. Hughes can be recalled. Dr. Hughes is that expert witness who had testified on trauma bonding and Stockholm syndrome and, what else did we say? Love bombing, things like that. So basically, maybe tomorrow we'll know if it's going to be dismissed. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. After these transcripts, child. But anyway, so on June 7th, again, Diddy defense team submitted a request for a mistrial saying the U.S. the prosecution allowed Bonner to perjure herself about the balcony. So the judge said, with that said, let me see lead counsel in the robing room. So what is being discussed, the issues around the order on pseudonyms? Did Jane's counsel ever submit her list of publishers? No indication in the docket despite this. And then the judge says, jury, allow the jury in. All rise, Jane, you are still under oath. The government says, good morning, Jane. Jane says, good morning, Miss Comey. The government says, publish this photo to the jury, but not the screen in the public gallery. Who is this? Sean's security. And this? This is Sean's deputy butler. Who did you call ATL? The entertainer Sly, because he lived in Atlanta. Your message to Sean, what was it about? My trip to New York in 2023. He wrote, send me some shit of you being bad. Jane said, then Sean said, I got the phones. Just send me what I don't have. Don't say no to me, please. The government said, what did you write? I wrote, you are traveling with our phone? The government says, you mean not Sean's two main phones? Jane says, yes. His assistants had access to those. Jane says, I wrote, you're using this to get your dick hard for someone else? The government says, and he said to you, what did you say? I said, I wrote, I'm not coming to New York. You just want me there for a hotel binge. And why did you say that? I saw a podcast. What about? About Sean bragging about having sex for 40 hours straight on a yacht trip to an island near Miami. No, he wasn't, y'all. Bragging on a podcast. What? This fool was bragging on a podcast about having sex for 48 hours straight on a yacht. The government said, when did the podcast air? A month after Sean said he'd take me on that yacht trip. What has Sean said he'd do with you on this yacht trip? Diddy's attorney says objection. The judge overruled. Jane says that after a 2-day hotel night, we go and do more on the yacht, but we never left. Had to recuperate. I saw on social media he took a girlfriend there. What did you write in your notes app? I wrote, I don't want to come to New York to be treated like a hoe. Why did you write this in your notes app? I wasn't sure I was going to send it. But did you send a version of it? Yes. And what did Sean reply? He said, it was just podcast talk. I said, you took her to the Bahamas on a yacht. Not me, like you promised after the hotel night. Can you read the text? Yes. I quoted him on the podcast. You made Papa proud. The government says, you wrote, I don't want to feel obligated that you'll stop paying my rent. What did you mean? The guilty, trippy things that he was saying, that I had to perform. For how long had you felt that? Since I got home in April 2023. Play this exhibit. Diddy's voice is being heard. This is a true open relationship. Why do you have to make it a problem? Now I'm sick. The government said, how did you reply to this voice message? Jane said, call me back. Then we had a FaceTime. He said all the things to calm me down. What did you send Sean for the plane to New York? A photo of my outfit? And where were you planning to wear it? To dinner. What did Sean do? He said, we're going to dinner. Did you? It was a late night lounge thing. I read this for you. You wrote, I miss hard dick. Jane says, and I wrote, yes, I have my passport with me. Then what did you write? I wrote, you turned me on so crazy, can't wait. After the flight took off? Yeah, I got a message from Sean. What did Sean ask you? Where Sly was? Then he asked, entertainment or movie night? Let me know, I'll get a hotel. And how did you react? I felt upset and a little defeated. What did you send next? Baby, just got Wi-Fi again. What did Sean write? He said, check red phone. The other message he sent me, he said, I have a surprise for you, just one. And what did you take it to mean? That there be somebody new. And she starts crying on the stand. And the government says, who? Jane says, an entertainer. I hated it. What did Sean send you? A picture of the man. I rolled my eyes. I wrote back. It's not loading. We are landing now. And what did you send Sean? I suggested we go to Casa Cipriani, but I was driven to the Trump Hotel. I put on my outfit. Hey, KJ. You said, damn, Diddy looking bad. What up, KJ? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure everybody likes and share the video, please. But yeah, so she said she put on the outfit. Then the government says, what happened that night? He was late. We went to that lounge. We bickered a bit. He was defensive, but we went to the room and Sly came in. And what did you text to Sly? I asked if he could come to New York. I felt I needed to make it up to Sean. Did he come to the Trump Hotel? And did you and he have sex in front of Sean? Yes. After that New York trip, where did you see Sean next? In Miami at a hotel. Did you two take these pictures? Not showing them to the gallery, of course, you guys. She said yes. We had Sly in Miami as well. Then I went back to LA and we had an argument there. Tell us why. He wanted to set up a party. He asked me to reach out to entertainers. I noticed something online that he was with an ex-girlfriend of his, and I was furious. Did you ever speak with any of these other women? No, I found out on IG. These text messages, October 15, 23. Please read what you wrote. Jane said, I text. You got that girl next to you? Her bullshit is already starting? Meaning? Drama. I told Sean, introduce her to P. Who? Says the government. Paul, one of the entertainers. Then I wrote, I am not a porn star. These experiences are desensitizing sex for me. The government says, and here on October 16, 2023, the same fight. Please read this. Jane said, I wrote, I don't want to be fucked in these rooms. I felt there was more pressure on me than the others. There was an imbalance. I had to earn basic things for my romance, love and romance. He was giving it to others. He was clearly capable of it. I wrote, it's been 3 years of me having to fuck strangers. He wrote, so we're breaking up? It's like he don't give a damn shit. Okay, you want to break up? You want me to set you free? Me want free? Shit, like he can't find somebody else. Because it seemed like everybody else that he's been fucking with, even J-Lo allegedly. Now, I had saw where J-Lo's ex has said that He had, matter of fact, hold up, wait a minute. Did I save that picture? Oh, please say you saved that picture of the hood table. Oh my god. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, I found it. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Hold on. Because some people have wondered, with the whole gun incident and the shit that happened back in the day with J Lo and Diddy and her parents. I heard her parents were really upset about that whole situation, that they wanted her to leave Diddy. And I feel like J Lo had one of those families. She had one of those families like, okay, if you don't leave this man alone, we gonna have some problems with this dude. So it's best you leave him alone. And J Lo left him alone. Um, so let me blow this up so you guys can see this real big. First, I'm gonna go over here to the post. Make that real big. Can y'all see that? Matter of fact, okay, so on the bottom he says, I'm not on the list. So I guess they got it in two different languages for people, but it's basically about the sex tapes, the dildos, everything is translated at the bottom. Okay. It says, I'm not on the list. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of shit Diddy's freak off parties, no and no, never. But my ex-wife Jennifer Lopez, aka J Lo, did. Ask her. Oh, and ask her about the sex tapes and the 734 dildos and the baby oil. And look at this. Look at some of the names on here. Can y'all see Diddy's party guest list? It's a lot of people on here. They put 106 in Park. They didn't even put like the people who worked on 106 in Park. They just put 106 in Park. Everybody from Akon, Alicia Keys, Bill Cosby. Do you see Trump on there? Trump down here. Trey Songz, Wendy Williams, Paris Hilton, Oprah, Naomi Campbell, Neo. But where that arrow pointing at? J Lo, Taraji, Swiss Beach, Snoop Dogg, Sexy Red, Saucy Santana, R. Kelly, Rick Ross, Rick James, Usher, Regis, Quincy, Ray J. I ain't surprised about Ray J. Little Kim, Nas, Lil Wayne. I ain't gonna go through all the games. Y'all can take a screenshot if y'all want. Let me make it smaller so y'all can get the screenshot. TLC, Tracy Ellis Ross, the one who just did a podcast recently, says she likes to date younger men now. I do love me some Tracy Ellis Ross. Y'all know that's Diana Ross' daughter. Busta Rhymes, Drake, Leonardo DiCaprio. These are all very well-known stars. Gabrielle Union. Now you from right here. And oh, girl, you was at the Diddy parties too. Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Diddy was in good with a lot of people back in the gap. TD Jakes. Y'all see TD Jakes? Right by Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Tiger Woods, Tiffany Haddish, Timbaland, Tyler Perry. Y'all see Tyler Perry, Tyrese, Will Smith. That's one of the names that his wife, that Kim Porter, allegedly, the book she wrote, it had mentioned Will Smith and Jada as one of the people they were swinging with. You sent me swinging. Y'all remember that song? Da, 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 da. I don't remember all the words. Da 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 da. You sent me swinging. Is it still 50's girl on the stand? Yes. Allegedly, KJ. I think everybody in the country now is like, yeah, that's 50 Cent. The judge in the courts room, they couldn't keep that a secret. Pseudonym, Jane Doe, John Doe, whatever. Whatever. But anyway, so after that, it said Jane Doe had wrote, it's been 3 years of me having to fuck strangers. And he wrote, so we're breaking up. The government said, is that what you were proposing? No, I wrote, I need a break spiritually. And she started crying on the stand again. The government said, what did you write next? She wrote, sex is sacred to me. And then she wrote, you always push me to do more and more. I said, I need time to myself. I said, and then Diddy's attorney says, can we have a sidebar? The judge says yes. During the long break, they said Diddy was standing talking with one of his defense attorneys, with Xavier Donaldson. And then at 10:48 a.m., the judge said, please be seated. Miss Comey, the government attorney, please bring Jane back. And Jane walks up back by Cohn's table as he passes a note to his lawyer, Shapiro. The government then says, what did Sean write to you? He wrote, I want to spend the day with you. And I wrote back, you make it crystal clear exactly what you want me for. You're going to spend the day love bombing me. And what did you mean? Sean is very love bombing. I said, I'm not just an animal people can fuck on. He said, you're crazy. The government said, oh, how often did he call you crazy? Often. I said, you want to have me suck some dick so you can jet off with Gina. I said, I'm drained. And he said, I'll leave you alone. Then the government says in the next message, does he use your true name? Yes. And does he say that's my house too? He does. He wrote, I'm coming over. You got to let me in or you got to let me in or not. Is your baby there? Are you going to let me in our house? She said he wrote that again and again. And then she said, Sean wrote to me, I'm so stressed. I'm horny. Shaking my head. The government said, what does SMH mean? Oh, sorry. The text actually said SMH. Okay. And then the government says, what does SMH mean? Jane says, shaking my head. He said his knees weren't good. I said I was hitting up with my mom. She said taking bone supplements is key. And so that's funny. She said, Diddy said his knees weren't good. And she said her mother told her to say taking bone supplements is key. If anybody needs should have been going bad, it should have been the females. All that damn fucking and sucking and anyway, bucking. But anyway, the government said they saw Sean, and she was like, yes. Then Jane goes on to say, we had the sobriety party at the hotel. First, we went to the concert. I stood with his security. With his security, Jonathan, I went to the store for supplies for the hotel night. Sean was in the hotel waiting. He called me, bitch, what the fuck is taking you so long? Jane said, I got there. His assistant said, you don't deserve to be called a bitch. The government says, at Armitage, what happened? Jane said, I didn't want to take drugs. And who was the first entertainer? First it was Rico, then it was Paul, and then Anton. Then I threw up. Jane said, Sean said, good, you threw up. Now you'll feel better. Then I had sex with Anton. I felt terrible. And whose text is this? Mine's. I wrote, baby, I love you. Do you think you could put something in my hotel? Did Sean respond? No. Jane said, I needed furniture for the house. I wrote, you weren't too busy to make sure Chelsea was ready in D.C. The government said, play this voice note. And they heard Diddy's voice saying, I don't know where the fuck Chelsea is. I ain't with no bitches. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm single. That's what an open relationship is. The government says, what frustration did you feel? Not being heard about how I felt about the hotel nights. And did you use names for the other women? Yes, it was misdirected anger. I said, what does the house have to do with what I'm saying? Jane said, I wrote, I'm not Gina or Cassie. And the shade. The government said, were you telling Sean you were going to speak out about your relationship? Objection, said Diddy's attorney. Sustained. The government said, please read. Did you reference your child? Yes, I said, you got me fucked up. Jane said, I said, just complete what he promised about the 2 years about the home. I said, don't contact me. The government said, what did he say to you in response? He said, I'm super clear now. I said, you had me on constant pins and needles. Now I'm sick. Leave me alone. The government says, does the next message reference a prior relationship you had? Jane says, yes. Then he says, I was told you were crazy. He said, you took it too far, baby girl. You'll see. He was threatening me about the rent, that we don't need to do anything we don't want to. Jane said, I wrote, you're mad at me about a grown-ass man. The government said, stop right there. Was this referring to your prior relationship? Jane said, yes. And I wrote, you wasted my time in this toxic-ass relationship. The government said, did you then refer to your previous relationship? Yes. Now, Jane, she said, you invited me to New York to pair up with some random man, any motherfucker, for your own sick sexual. And then the government says, what were you talking about? Jane says, the 2 men I had chose for myself, Sly and Anton. Sean kept trying to say I chose them. I had wanted it. Jane said, I wrote, you want to gaslight me. Yeah, that's pretty much what he seems to do a lot. I agree. But the government says, what do you mean? Jane said, he wanted me to believe I had wanted these things. And what else did Sean text you? He said, you and me don't have no beef. I said, you created all this evil inside of me. Jane said, I wrote to him, I regret everything, all this toxic shit which overran my life. And he said, you are burning a bridge that you are going to need tomorrow. The government said, what did you write? Jane said, I wrote, I don't trust you. He said, 10 hours ago, you loved me. Not this. Jane said, he wrote, it's a free country. I'm an adult and you are an adult. You are writing a whole book about what you hate about me. We both made promises that we didn't keep. And if you don't want to talk to me, there's nothing I could do. The government said, did you get the phone? Yes. And what did you write here? Jane said, you knew I would finish strong. Pep talks to keep me performing. I know I was consenting. Like you said, you didn't know I didn't want it. This is my truth. I love you very much. I need to take a pause. The government said, why did you say, I know I was consenting? Jane said, I picked the word up from him. He said, if anyone saw these videos, they say you wanted it. The government said, was that true, Jane? Jane said, I'm still trying to figure that out. The government said, what did you see in the videos? Jane said, I was high. I was just following a pattern, performing. The government said, exhibit, please read it. Jane said, it's from my notes. I wrote, I am having PTSD from these nights. Why in your notes app? Just getting my feelings out. Just getting her feelings out, y'all. The government said, did you see Sean that day? Yes, at home. I was comforted by him. I was able to talk about the pain I was feeling, and he was hugging me. And what are these? Photos I took of us in his master bathroom. I felt he understood me in this moment. Jane said he had a Halloween video shoot. That was nice. But his birthday was approaching, and I felt nervous. He'd want to party hard, but he spent his birthday with his family. I got him a mobile television, and we had these things called movie nights, our videos. Jane said, I felt that this TV could substitute for the entertainer. Then Cassie's lawsuit came out. It was everywhere on social media, and I think I fainted. The government said, why? Jane said, because in between her crying on the stand, y'all, she said there was 3 pages that was harrowing exactly what I was experiencing. Ain't that crazy? When she heard Cassie's lawsuit, she was basically like, that literally mirrors exactly what I'm experiencing right now. And again, when I read the book by Kim Porter, or I listened to the audio version before this trial even started, everything that's happening now or happened in court, of course it happened years ago, but everything we're hearing now is literally mirroring what Kim Porter put in her book. He's mean and rude as fuck. He's mean and rude as fuck. I mean, I'm like, damn. Literally, if they don't do what the fuck he want to, he gets really aggressive. He gets abusive. He threatens to put them out their homes, like all kind of shit like that. And he also threatens to release their sex tapes. He knew what he was doing from the gate, from the jump. He knew what he was doing. Recording all these events, all these sex parties, because he knew people wouldn't want nobody to see that shit. And so he got that shit in his back pocket. Like, oh, you don't want to do what I want to do? Just like what he did to Cassie's mother and father. Extorted them out of $20,000. Threatened to put one of Cassie's sex tapes out. Man. You said, I cannot believe 50 had a baby with a sex worker, allegedly. That's probably how they met, allegedly. You know what? When Diddy put that documentary, when 50 put, man, I cannot wait. Ooh, 400. We might have to do some reviews together on the documentary, because I know that shit gonna be good. Okay? Yes, Sunshine. BMF was fire. Yes. How much of it did you watch? I don't know if you caught my entire review, but of course the show comes on every Friday. And usually when a show comes on Friday, I usually do the review on Sunday. I like to give my supporters a few days to watch a show before I get into it, to try to give people a chance to see it. But yeah, so we'll be reviewing this season of BMF on Sundays. And if you miss it, all you gotta do is hit the recap. Okay, just hit the recap one time for your girl. But yeah, so she's sobbing on the stand again. She's like, damn, Cassie went through all this shit. And so, because the one thing about it, you guys, usually when somebody breaks up with somebody, when they get with the next person, they usually always, now not everybody, but a lot of people who really want the new person to look at them like they all that in a bag of chips, they'll lie and they'll talk mad dog shit about the ex when they was the one who was doing the fucking most and either ruined the relationship, or they was abusive, or they was a cheater or something like that, or deadbeat. They usually try to make the ex look like the bad person. I'm sure Diddy probably did a lot of that, especially when people got all these NDAs that they got to agree to, and they can't really speak out like they want to about these incidents that they were experiencing. I do. Yes, we got to do a review together. Yes, that part. Absolutely. But yeah, so the government said, did you screenshot those images? Jane said yes. And do you recognize this? It's Cassie's lawsuit filed November 16, 2023. Had you met Cassie? Yes, in 2015, a fashion show and celebration for Sean. That's the only time I met Cassie. Jane said, I was reading these pages and I felt like it was a nightmare. I had a lot of sympathy for this because Diddy's attorney. Objection. Judge says, ask a new question. How did you react? Like, I can't believe I'm reading my own story. The attorney says, read your messages the day after Cassie's lawsuit. Jane said, 4 in one night, and now I'm going to the doctor? The government said, then 3 days later, read that. Jane, I feel like I'm reading my own sexual trauma. God finally woke me up from this cycle. You gaslit me. The government said, we're going to play some audio with your true name redacted. Show the full transcript to the jury, please. So then they hear a loud and scratchy audio played, and it's Diddy saying, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stop all this madness. And Jane says, I don't know. The government said, did you know you were being recorded? Jane said, no. The government said, did you know you were being listened in on? Jane says, no. Then they hear more audio. Jane saying, "Who's there when I close my eyes and I have these fucking things in my head?" The government said, "Play the 345. You hear Diddy's voice. "I'm trying to be there for you. You know what I'm saying?" Jane says, "I'm just fucked up right now." Diddy asks, "Are you recording me?" The government says, "Jane, were you recording him?" Jane says, "Absolutely not." Then they hear more audio. Diddy's voice said, "What you did is not right. You know what I'm saying. I can't talk on this phone. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I need you to support. You got that video thing?" The government says, "What did that mean?" Jay says, "The mobile TV I got for him." The government says, "Your Honor, this might be a good place to take a break." And the judge says, "Okay, juries, you may go." And the jury exit. The judge says, "How much longer, Miss Comey?" The government says, "I'm confident I'll finish today, and maybe the end of the day, but today." And so they went on a break. Now I thought I had dang it. Maybe I don't. I could have sworn I had audio. Is this it? I think this is it. Hold on. Let me hit mute real quick. Okay, yep, here it is, y'all. So let me play. I'm gonna play this for y'all. Okay, he knew it would be embarrassing for them. Absolutely, he sure the heck did. He knew it would be traumatizing and embarrassing. That's why a lot of people didn't come forward. See, I understand. I understand. Like a lot of people don't understand. "Oh, well, y'all waited all this time. Why y'all didn't come out before Cassie? Why da 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 da?" This man got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sex tapes. They're fucking 4, 5, 6 niggas a night. 4 to 5 business days a week. Like, I get it. They didn't want nobody to know. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I get it. I wish a lot of these women wouldn't have got caught up in these situations, but mm-mm-mm. It's sad. I'm up to season 4 now. I watched it the entire. Oh, there you go. There you go. Now make sure you also watch She the People by Tyler Perry. And then make sure you also watch Straw by Tyler Perry. She the People and Tyler Perry's new movie Straw is both on Netflix. I enjoyed both of them. She the People is like a 10 episode season. And I'm telling you right now, I've been telling everybody it's not the normal Tyler Perry scripting for his episode, for his series. I can tell. I can tell. I've been covering Tyler Perry shows and movies for years. Okay. Somebody asked me the other day, "Do I ever watch Ruthless?" I'm like, I've been doing reviews on Ruthless since season 1, baby. Hey, yes. So I'm used to his corny ass storylines sometimes and his typical storylines. But I'm telling you, She the People, it really truly seems like he has a designated team for that script. It doesn't come off Tyler Perry-ish at all. I promise y'all. I promise y'all that. Because I know some of y'all probably give me that side eye. I ain't watching no more TV series that Tyler Perry has created. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. So hopefully after this TV series, maybe he'll come out with new ones and maybe he'll use different writers because you can definitely tell it was not his writing. I mean, he probably had his thoughts in it, but out of all the TV shows and movies I've seen of Tyler Perry's and reviewed on, different. So let me play this right now. This is just a sound. This is a clip of Diddy. They're playing his voice. And I'm going to make sure I put up my little copyright disclaimer. And this video is about 4 minutes and 18 seconds. ABC. And I'm going to hit mute.
An ex-girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs back on the stand today, giving graphic and disturbing testimony in the sex trafficking racketeering trial against the rap mogul using the pseudonym Jane. She's testifying she was forced into drug-fueled sexual encounters with male prostitutes that could last for days. Comes after jurors actually heard recordings of Combs' voice for the very first time. Prosecutors played 3 recordings allegedly sent from Combs to Jane. Here's a portion of one of them.
I'm single, I could do whatever I want to, but I didn't. You're straight flipping out on me, and I told you that you had one more time to do this. Flipping out on me because somebody came to work out with me at my house. You're nuts. So be sad, go crazy, do whatever you want to do.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. His legal team says all sexual encounters were consensual. For more, let's bring in legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer. So, Brian, what's the significance of these audio recordings, you think, and will they be effective?
So, Kira, for the most part, we've been hearing, whether it be AUSA Comey, the lead prosecutor in the case, and Jane reading text messages, but we're also hearing, as you played, some of the audio clips, whether it be audio notes that Sean Combs left for Jane, or if it was a recording, actually, I think 2 of them, actually, recording of Sean Combs talking to Jane close in time to when the Cassie civil lawsuit came out. And what I think it does is it gives color to the argument that the government's making here that Sean Combs is either love bombing Jane or attempting to reach out to her at a time that he knows law enforcement is looking to indict him on the charges he's facing now, to kind of do damage control, make sure that she understands that this relationship was consensual, that this is something they both wanted to do, highlighting that she was getting many of these entertainers or male escorts. And so I think for the government, this is very helpful for their case. But I do think the defense might have a different interpretation of this cross-examination for them, likely to start tomorrow with Jane.
So you've been inside the courtroom. What has Combs' demeanor been like during Jane's testimony?
So the Combs of last week is very different of the Combs of this week. Don't forget that Sean Combs was told that he cannot be doing anything that might influence the jury through that vigorous head nodding or shaking of his head in testimony that he either likely agreed with or disagreed with, and doing so in a very entertaining way, let's say, towards the jury. Now he's much more laid back. He's kind of pushed back in his seat. He's listening to Jane on the stand testify. When there's opportunities to have the text messages or other pieces of evidence shown on the video, you can see him put on his glasses, really scoot up close to Teddy Garagos to his right, and who is also going to be cross-examining Jane, and then looking at the evidence on the screen and participating in his defense. I think he's trying to point out his interpretation of some of these messages and also help Teddy Garagos prepare for her cross-examination.
And Combs' defense team has asked for a mistrial twice now. Even if a mistrial is unlikely, what's the strategy behind it?
So there are 2 reasons why you would ask for a mistrial in any sense. The first being that perhaps they could stack up on each other. One individual mistrial argument might not be the one to have this case fall apart or fall in favor for the defense, but if there are multiple issues, a judge may second guess the 3rd, 4th, 5th mistrial application and may actually grant it. The other and probably more likely reason is if Sean Combs is convicted of any or all of the crimes, when they go to appeal, they want to make sure they what's called preserve the issue. Because if they don't raise the issue of mistrial during the trial phase, they will not be able to raise it at the appellate stage. And so they might be hoping for a more favorable judge who's not just going to look at 1 or 2 applications for a mistrial, but if they're hopeful and lucky they get more down the road, a judge on the appellate level will look at multiple mistrial motions, and they're hoping for a beneficial result at that time.
All right, there, you guys. What up, QI Media R? How you doing? Thank you for showing us some love over here. I appreciate you. You guys, make sure you are liking and sharing the video. Thank you so much. Feel free to send a super chat or a cash out for the commentary. But I thought I'd just play all that little bit of Sean, Puffy, P. Diddy. They was playing some of the audio messages that he was leaving Jane Doe. This is around the time that Cassie had filed her lawsuit, and a lot of press were coming at Diddy and a lot of speculations. And y'all know how it was when that shit first came out. And what it does sound like was he was doing some love bombing and trying to do that reverse psychology on her, gaslighting. That's what it sounded. He was trying to get in front of, get in front of this train that's trying to run him over. But I don't know if it's gonna work. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the love bombing and about how him trying to get in front of the situation with Jane when this found out. And what do y'all think about her feeling like she's literally reading her life story? What's going on when she saw Cassie's allegations in her lawsuit? But yeah, a lot of people said that he was panicking, instead of feeling remorseful, he was panicking because of everything that was going on. He was paranoid, things like that. The feds was closing in on him. He thought his phones was being tapped. And when you think somebody's listening to you on the phone, now some of y'all in the B sector have even been on the phone with people outside of YouTube. And some of y'all, I done heard over the years, some of y'all who have been on the phones with people, y'all say that you could tell that you was being recorded. And maybe you just didn't care. And sometimes you were like being really careful with your words on the phone. Like Diddy, he had a feeling that his phones was being tapped. And so that's when he was like trying to love bomb her. I need your support. I need you. Are you recording me? But he's always been a manipulator, always. So he was literally just trying to manipulate her. Something that he's well known for. That we have found out through this court trial. He's a gaslighter. He's a manipulator. He's abusive. He be using coercion, extortion, child. Diddy is everything but a child of God, y'all. Diddy is everything but a child of God, and we all are a child of God. We all are children of the Lord. But this is one that probably some people feel like, God, you sure you didn't make a mistake? You sure you didn't make a mistake on this one? Is this really one of yours or is this the devil's? Okay. But anywho, so after that, Jane, let's see. Do I need to go back and read that last part? Okay, so they had entered a break. And then Jane says, I was commenting about the girlfriend of another rapper. I said she is so beautiful. The government said, was this rapper an old friend of yours? Yes, I was flown to Las Vegas. There was a birthday party and we went to a strip club. I recognized Anton, and Anton, was one of the prostitutes. The government says, other than that time, have you ever seen Anton other than on hotel nights? Jane said no. This friend, was it platonic? Yes, in the hotel room. Anton was having sex with a woman. The rapper and his girlfriend was there. There was flirting. The government says, how were your finances in January 2024? Jane said, better. I decided to do the OnlyFans. And what kind of content did you create? Like lingerie, swimwear, implied nudity? What's that? Your hand covers your body. I wanted to stay on my 2 feet. And I was also getting child support and some money from Bear. I advertised his brand on my social media. He offered me money, actually. He just sent it to me. How much was that? Jane said $9,000. He said, if you want to post for my brand, do. No big deal. Jane said, Sean managed me. He'd had a dream about me, that I was on the Concorde. And the government says, why did you answer him? Jane says, I missed him dearly. He said, so what do you want to do on your birthday? I said, I'm traumatized by past my birthday experiences and what they led to. The government said, what did Sean write? He said, if you change your mind, I miss you, stay happy, love. And what did you write? That I'm just being mature. I don't think I'm ready to see you. The government said, did you see him for your birthday in February 2024? Yes. And how was it in Miami? Sean had candles. My heart was beating super fast, and I think his was beating fast too. We were oddly in the same color. I thought that was nice. What happened at dinner? Balloons, a 5-course dinner. We used ecstasy. Then Sean asked, do you want to see Dawn? The government said, what was your reaction? I was high. I said, okay. And me and Don had sex in 1 star. Then we rested a couple days. Then we flew to LA and we were back together. The government says, in 2024, where did you visit Sean? Jane said, Miami in May, July, and August, and at my residence in LA a couple of times. And did you and Sean go out in Miami and LA in 2024? No, things had really hit the fan. A lot was going wrong in my life, in his life. Jane said the press was after him about Cassie's lawsuit. The government said, with which entertainers do you have sex with in 2024? Jane says, Anton, Don, Larry. We stayed in the residences. There was a lot of focus on Sean elsewhere, and I showed him how lucrative OnlyFans was. Jane says Sean was putting on music, and he went to my phone. He asked me, who's Bear? Why are you texting like this with him? The money thing came up that Bear had sent me money. He started getting dressed, and I started crying because I felt misunderstood. The government says, what did Sean text you? He wrote, what's going to happen if I come over tonight? I said, do you want me to be alone? I can arrange that. I wrote back he was supposed to see his mother, in air quotes. I meant another woman. He wanted a party. The government says, what did Sean ask? He said he wanted me to sign something for him so he could have closure. I thought he meant so I wouldn't be a threat. Had you ever sent him a demand letter? No. Sean said, you are making your own money. And what did you reply? Jane said, I am working on paying off my debt after being on call on Focus. The government says, how did you go into debt when you were dating a millionaire who gave you thousands? Objection, said Diddy's attorney. Sustained, says the judge. What did you write? I said, I'm tired. You can't even make it to your 2 years without bringing it up on me. What did Sean say here? Bear, my colleague, I said, I hate living in fear. The roof over my head was just going to come off. Jane said, I asked, did you tell Robin that his accountant to cut it off? He said, you make your own money. The government said, did he continue to pay your rent? Yes, he kept paying. And did you learn his houses were searched? Yes. And HSI came to my house too. Ooh, child, they came to her house too. The government said, who hired you a lawyer? Jane said, Sean. Is Sean still paying for your lawyer now? Yes. Diddy is still paying for her lawyer now. While she's on the stand testifying against him. Diddy is still paying legal fees for his girlfriend who is testifying against him. Child. He paying her legal fees and still paying her rent. And still paying her $10,000 a month. Huh. Was he doing this to hopefully sway her from testifying against him? Like, why would you pay for her an attorney if you knew that she was testifying against you? Why would you continue to pay her rent if you knew she was testifying against you? He's paying her $10,000 a month and paying her lawyer fees. I doubt if he knew that she was going to testify against him. But in this predicament, in this situation, where she is still getting paid by him and the attorney fees are getting paid, could he actually like stop the rent going, stop the $10,000 from going to her, stop paying the attorney fees from behind the walls? Because from what I heard, his account still hasn't been seized yet. I didn't hear anything yet about his accounts being seized. So I wonder if he could actually like stop payment on some shit like that, because if somebody was testifying against me, I wouldn't still want to be paying their rent every month, sending them $10,000 every month, paying their lawyers' fees while they on the stand crying and boo-hooing about me abusing them. So I don't know. That's a little weird. That's a little weird, don't you think? But anyway, The government says, who hired your attorney? She said, Sean. Is Sean still paying for your lawyer? Yes. Did you talk to Sly after the 2024 searches? Yes. He called and said he had a tape and he intended to release it bit by bit on the dark web. So Sly, one of the prostitutes, also threatened to release a tape of her and him on the dark web, bit by bit. Jane said, I asked Sly, how did he get the video? He said that Sean picked up his phone and recorded with it. I asked Sly Cabral how much he wanted. He said $10,000. I told Sean Cabral just tried to extort me. Sean was crying. What did he say? Jane said, get legal on it. The government said, did you speak with Cabral? Yes, I told him this was extortion and I would talk with him. Then a media company called me and said they bought the tape and did I have a comment? And I fainted. And she started crying again, talking about we had to control the situation. The government said, did the media company ever publish a video? Jane said, no. Do you know why? No. Then the hotel video of Sean and Cassie came out. I was with Sean in Miami. And how did you first learn of the video? There was a knock on the door. Sean was called out. I went down and everyone was talking. It was a 2-star. And what happened? Sean was huddled with his team and his family. I was just giving everyone space. Later, we had a huddle. His sons were involved. A huddle for what? To come up with an apology. He showed me a draft of what he would say on social media. Did you read it? He addressed Cassie. Now, y'all know that video that Diddy had put out there that was a bunch of bullshit. That fake ass apology with no emotion behind it. But Jane said he addressed Cassie by name in the draft I saw. I felt it was more heartfelt. I thought it was good enough. The attorney said, did you talk later on one-on-one with Sean about the video? Yes, I did. He said that Cassie hit him too. Then I was told that KK, KK, Christina Coram, that's his closest assistant, top assistant. And she said, then I was told that KK was coming and I had to go into another room. And I did. And I went back to LA. Do you recognize this? Yes, this is Sean's Instagram apology. The video played to the jury, not on the public, to the gallery. Sean said, disgusting. I have asked God for his mercy and grace. I'm truly sorry. And the government said, how did you feel about this? Jane says, I was disappointed. I felt there was no heart. Of course, Diddy's attorney says, sidebar. The judge says, sure. And what they say basically is, on social media, Diddy hired a lawyer for Jane after the raids on his home. She says, Homeland Security investigation left a business card at Jane's home the day of the raids on Combs' homes. Because, of course, her home is probably in his name. She's paying $10,000 for it. He's paying $10,000 for it. So, that's what I'm assuming, that it's in his name. And that's why they left her a business card. The day of the raids in March 2024. And Jane says she didn't speak to anyone at HSI at the time, but she called Diddy and his security guard trying to reach out to Diddy about it. And at some point after the raids, Diddy hired a lawyer for her. And she confirmed Diddy is still paying for that lawyer who is representing her. The jury then takes a break and the jury leaves. And the judge says, Miss Comey, that's the government attorney, the prosecutor. Miss Comey, can I get a proffer as to relevance? She says, if I can't compare the drafts, I'll strike the last question about comparing the drafts. Diddy's attorney says, we want all these questions stricken. Diddy's attorney goes on to say, I advise not to name Cassie as she might be a grand jury witness. So privileged. The government says our next question are about Diddy's violent assault on Jane and forcing her to have sex with an entertainer while still injury. It goes to state of mind. The government says I can play the video again and avoid any privilege issues. Judge says, okay, bring the jury back in. All right. So the apology video is played again. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. This is what Diddy said on his weak ass apology video. I sought out professional help, which we know he didn't. I'm going to therapy, which we know he wasn't. I'm going to rehab, which we know he wasn't even considering. Then the government says, Jane, what did you understand he was referring to? She said the hotel elevator lobby video. The government says the next time you saw him, which was June 18, 2024, where did you see him? Jane says home in LA, a date night in the house. Jonathan came to help set up. And what did Jonathan do? Put some candles around the house, decorate with the usual red lights, okay, and make the environment cozy. The government said, what was the plan to have an entertainer? Jane says, no. I wore a long brown dress, opened our patio, which has a really, really nice view. The government says, did you two get into an argument? Yes. We had champagne and some tequila. I started confronting him about who he was with on his family trip in Utah. And what did you say to Sean? I said, you are a pedophile. He was 25 or more years older. Jane says, I said, if a girl can buy her own drinks, what makes you uninterested in her? I believe she was under 21. The government says, but older than 18? Jane says, yes. I pushed his head into the marble. Then what? I started throwing candles and glass. I was angry. Jane says, he was probably cursing and calling me crazy. I wanted to lock myself in the master bedroom. Did Sean touch you? Not yet. I locked the bedroom door, but he kicked it down. Then he kicked down the bathroom door off the hinges. He kicked him way into the closet. I tried to run, but he kicked me and put me in a chokehold, and I couldn't breathe. I went to the front door and to a wall 6 blocks away. How long did you hide there? 2 hours. Then I went back. I saw Sean. Sean kicked in the guest bedroom. I was throwing glasses and candles at Sean. He shouted that I hated him. He started punching my head and saying all kinds of things. Saying what? That I was trying to keep him away from his kids. I said no, but he kicked me on the grounds. I was balled up. Then he grabbed me by my hair and arms and dragged me back to the house. And what was he saying? That I was fucking crazy. And I kept saying, just leave me the fuck alone. Jane said, I called the girl I thought Sean was with and asked if she was on a trip with Sean. She said very insulting things. Then Sean held me down, so I had to listen. And what did you do? I told her to shut up and that he was beating my ass. Jane said Sean then hung up. Then he told Jonathan to tell me he wasn't with no girl on his family trip. The government says, and after the FaceTime, what happened? I went into the shower to cool off. And who was with you? Sean. I saw a black eye forming and welts. How were you in the shower? I was naked. Sean was in his pants. He slapped me. I fell to the ground of the shower. Then what? I was exhausted. I just sat there. Sean said, just put some ice on it and put an outfit on. The government says, outfit? Jane says, yes, lingerie and heels. Sean was using my phone to play pornography. He texted Anton on my phone. My phone was screen mirrored to the TV. Sean texts, hey, what are you doing? Sean scrolled up and saw Anton's message about our mutual friends. Sean asked me how the mutual friends were. I said, I don't know. The government said, why did you lie? Because we were on break. I didn't think I needed to say it. Anton showed up. I moved my hair so that my injuries couldn't be seen and used makeup like Sean said. I greeted Anton and tried to be polite, asked him how his day was. Sean was giving me his evil stare. Sean said, I need to talk to you. We went into the guest bedroom. And what happened there? He said he wanted to know about the mutual friend. I told him I went to Vegas with this rapper and his girlfriend, and I saw Anton having sex with another woman. And what did Sean say? He said, do you have this porn star having something over me? And the government said, did you take drugs? Yes, right around that time. Sean told me, take this fucking pill. You're not going to fucking ruin my night. Go out there and suck his dick. And I said I didn't want to. And what did he say? He said, is this coercion? The government says, what happened to the pill? I consumed it. I performed oral sex on Anton. I felt sick. I was like, even in my own body, I felt disgusted. I felt horrible. And how did it end? When Anton finished, I excused myself, tried to put on a good face, face. Jane says, Sean called me a whore. After he left, he sent his security with money to me for Anton. It was $10,000 or $12,000 in cash for Anton and for the damaged doors. The government says, what did you do with part of the money? I Ubered $3,000 or $4,000 to Anton. The government says, have you ever fixed your doors? No, there were other bills. Photos of broken doors were shown to the jury, but not on screen in a public gallery. And when did you next see Sean? A few days later. Why? I missed him. Child, if this ain't Stockholm Syndrome, all wrapped in a damn bow. Y'all, if y'all know anything about Stockholm Syndrome, this is Stockholm Syndrome all wrapped in a bow, where the person being abused, they love their abusers so much. They love their abusers so much. They still want to be with them. Jane said, we were trying to have a Sunday fun day, but it was like tense. The governor said, did you and Sean talk about with Jonathan? Sean FaceTimed Jonathan, asking him what he saw that night. For a moment, Jonathan said he saw me in the corner crying. Jane says, they shot a video of Sean and me out in the yard. The government said, did you inadvertently film your injuries? Jane says, yes, my welts. And when you learned that Sean went to Wyoming, I was outraged. He was with another woman. Did you block him? Yes. For how long? 2 or 3 weeks. Then I saw his mother had been hospitalized. I wanted to put what happened between us to the side. He said, this was just too far for me. I saw you had me in a box. I said you had me in a box. Sorry, there's a typo there, y'all. The governor said, do you know the name of the rapper? Or did you see the name of the rapper? Jane says, yes. I flew on a red eye to meet Sean. And what did you do? We had a really nice time. Sean said, you could tell me when you're tired. And what did you say? Let's stop for now and see each other later. And his demeanor changed. Jane said, he said, a man spends all his money on you and you say you're tired. He threw water on me. He called me a bitch. He gave me an ecstasy pill. And then what happened? Sean was celebratory. He said, let's go. Did Paul come to Miami? Yes. And did Paul come to 2-Star? Yes. I was given a spray bottle, liquid Molly, in my mouth. I felt a surge of high-octane sexual energy. Paul comes in. I greet Paul with that energy. And did you have sex with Paul in front of Sean? Yes. The government says, when was the last time you saw Sean in person? August 2024 at 2-Star. And did you have sex with Dawn in front of Sean at 2-Star? Yes. And one last text message. The last one I'll ask you to look at. Did you go to New York to see him? No. Why not? He was arrested. Did you get a subpoena? Yes. I had to come in November 2024, then January 2025, and after that. Did you see a therapist? 3 months now. Do you have an attorney for this case? Yes. And who is paying? Sean. I am still processing. The government cut her off. Nothing further. The judge says, jury, you may go. Court is adjourned. That was a lot. That was a lot. After hearing all this and hearing Cassie's testimony, who do you think had it the worst? He gotta be. He put some hoodoo, voodoo, some backwoods, something, some frog legs, pig snout, turkey wings, bird feathers. He put something on these women. Cause that nigga, I mean, besides his money and everything, he ain't even all that to look at. He ain't even all that to look at. It's the money, it's the fame, it's the mogul. He's a mogul. Larger than life, as they call him. But yeah, which one of those two relationships was more toxic? Do you think it was hers or do you think it was Cassie's? Please put it in the chat. I would like to know how y'all feel about that. Um, from my perspective, uh, mm, mm, mm. Wow, I don't know. She did have it bad, right, KJ? She had it bad. Um, and I feel you on that. I feel you on that statement you made. How you think that her treatment was revenge because of Fitty. Because her and Fitty, I mean, him and Fitty got like this kind of beef or this feud or whatever. That could have just been the case. You might have a point there. You might have a point there. And it's like, when people be in relationships with a man or a woman, and they're not cheating or nothing like that, but one of them might have kids, and the other one might be abusive to the kid because they want to they mad or they upset with the other mate, with their mate. Like we done heard stories of men hating their girl or their woman or wife so much that they abuse the child in revenge for being upset with the woman, and vice versa. There are women who do the same thing. They might be into it with a man or whatever, might be babysitting a man's children by some other woman, and they abuse them and mistreat them. Yes. Now, me personally, I thank God I never had that issue. I have 2 sons by 2 different guys, and I never to this day have ever heard of either one of them doing something wrong to the other guy's child. And I hope that I never ever hear anything. They 28 and 24, and I asked them over the years, not only them, but has anybody ever abused you in any of your lifetime that you felt you couldn't tell me about? Or even though you ask your kids all through their life, like at least I do. I know other people do. When my boys was growing up, I don't care if they girls or not. Anybody ever touch you? Anybody ever try to touch you? Anybody look like they want to touch you? Coaches, pastor, mailman, uncle, grandpa, cousin, neighbor, your homeboy's dad. I mean, I was always asking them things like that throughout their growing up, because just because they're boys don't mean that they can't be touched. We know how it goes, okay? There are some nasty, dangerous people out there. Some like boys, some like girls, some like anything walking. But yeah, I really hate how men or women get upset with their mate or their ex or whatever and abuse the person's kids that they have by somebody else. You might have a point there, KJ. Him and 50 beefing, him taking it more out on her because of the fact that him and 50 beefing. It's horrible. It's just terrible. All the things that we're reading about 50. And to think, even if, let's just say he does get a mistrial, let's just say he does get off on this case. It's like, who could ever look at him ever the same again? You know who can? All the people who held his secrets all these years. All the people who was part of those functions. Y'all saw the list that I posted, the alleged list that J-Lo's ex-husband said of all the names of all the people that he knows, that he says he knows, was at Diddy's parties. A long list. And I'm sure that's far from all the people that have been to his parties. That's far from all. That was a lot of people, but we talking Diddy. And all the people, all the circles he run around. Yeah, it's probably 10, 15, 20 pages of people that's probably been to his parties. The after parties and the after party. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah, her ex has been very vocal about his disdain for Diddy. I know he mistreated Jane out of spite, and you might be right. You might be right. But yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I'm gonna get my butt off of here. I thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Y'all know I work all day, then I come live to give y'all the spiel, the transcripts, and discuss a little bit with you. And then I get off of here and I gotta put something in my tummy and enjoy the rest of my evening. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of y'all evening. I wasn't even trying to be on here over no hour 30 minutes. I thought it would be like an hour, but it was a very long day in court. They went to like 5 o'clock, just like they did Friday. The judge was like, we gonna get this shit over with. Okay, because they still got to do the cross. The cross is probably gonna take about a day or so. And then who knows who else the prosecution is gonna put on the stand. I really hope they put D-Rock on the stand. I really hope they put KK on the stand. KK has got to be put on the stand. If they haven't subpoenaed KK, I don't know what the fuck wrong with them. But yes, absolutely, KK needs to be on the stand. And D-Rock, absolutely. Yes. That's probably why he was real stingy with her. Yep. I agree. But yep, so I'm gonna get off of here, you guys. Please make sure you like and share the video on your way out. If you haven't done it on your way in, please, thank you so much. Good night, KJ, and everybody else who is still in the chat. And for the replay gang, please make sure you also like and share the video and subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new here. And also, please feel free to donate to the commentary. $ the hood table 402 for the Cash App, and feel free to super chat. And you guys, as usual, stay safe. Be blessed. Remain vigilant at all times. And always remember, y'all know how we do. Keep it hood. Hey, Life Queen. Hey, how you doing, boo? I'm just getting out of here, child. But yes, I will holla. Bye.